webinar/collab is brought to you by Visas.ai, the intelligent immigration platform. I'm joined by some wonderful attorneys and non-attorneys that will be here to spectate and ask some questions. Attorney Jon Velie and Ashley Morin, thank you for being with us. I'll go ahead and give the mic over to Attorney Jon, who's sharing his screen right now as we begin to speak about the P visas.
Thanks, Pierre. I appreciate it. Hi, Ashley. Welcome back to our immigration show. So this is the third session of a visa on how to do a professional athlete's visa under the P1 visa category, right? And so we're using our platform, Visas.ai, and we're doing it for a professional athlete named Pro Athlete. Now, he is a Monster Jam pilot, and he wants to come to the United States, and the head of Monster Jam is Cookie Monster, and we're going to we filled out his lead details, and then once you continue past that, we see that he's a P1 athlete. Now we had a model for Major League Rugby, so please ignore that, but we're going to use the Major League Rugby model because it's very advanced. We did a lot of those as that, but this will not be for rugby. It'll be for a monster truck. So in any case, our lawyer is Betsy Ross from the Liberty Law Firm. This is a mythical case, so none of this is confidential. But once we save that, then we can go to the strategy session, and we'd opened it up. So let me just show you quickly how that works and what we do next. So you can just put some strategy notes. Pro athletes from Australia, we think it's a good case and we're ready to proceed. We set a contract to Cookie Monster to start the process. Now we could send the contract either to Cookie as the employer or to Pro Athlete as the beneficiary. Many times athletes will come to us and they're running their own show. They're professional tennis players or sailors or whatever, and they're not parts of teams, and they're running everything, right? In this one, we got this person's a pro monster truck pilot. The name's Pro Athlete. Their background, Pro Athlete won the Aussie Monster Truck Jam and all these other things. And then we went through all the different criteria to drop them in there. So we got that prior season in a major U.S. sports league. Well, Monster Jam is a U.S. sports competition. It's actually a global sports competition. So that would meet it because it's the top sports competition for monster truck in the world and in the United States. So he competed in it in Sydney. Now they may say that's not sufficient because it wasn't in the United States, but I think we could argue that. And then we have our evidence that here's an article that talks about him. Then we also learned that he's a member of the Australian national team, and he was in the World Championships in 2023. And there'd be some evidence. It can also be an article or a medal, any number of things. So let's assume we drove that in for that. Then we have who the sponsors are going to be. We got Ford Motor Company, and we got the different details of who that could be. And you'd have a written statement from a governing body official. Let's have that as their name is Joe Davis, and their bio is president of Monster Jam competition. Now this is an interesting thing because many times a governing body is like the Olympic Committee body, right? So the Olympic Committee may have USA wrestling or USA rugby or USA basketball or whatever. Well, in this situation, the entire sport is privatized and run by Monster Jam. There's not other monster competitions under a governing body. So we put their contact information, and then they would provide information. Now, some of these governing bodies, if they're really big, they're just going to give a no objection letter, and they're going to say, I do not object to pro athlete competing in Monster Jam competitions. Okay,
And
that
John, really
yes.
quickly, I do want to ask you again, what are we looking at right now that you're filling out? Is this a USCIS website?
No, this is visas.ai is a platform that builds visas, right? And these are strategy sessions. These are questions that attorneys ask. And right now we support that over here with OV. Online Visas owns this. So OV can tell you, describe the perspective of governing body official, how the players internationally recognized. It might include a lot of this different things. We'd have some hints down here. Um, it did analysis level participation, all that kind of stuff. What I was describing is some of these entities don't want to do anything except say they don't object, but we'd obviously support the case better with how that person's internationally recognized and actually meet a criteria. So if you can do that, let's say, okay, let's not do this. Let's have the governing of body officials, since it's Monster Jam and we want them over here, to say pro athlete um, is internationally recognized in monster truck competition because of what he won the world championships with Australia in 2023, won the Sydney Monster Jam in 2023. What else did we put up here that he'd done? Oh, he holds the highest jump from a monster truck. Okay, those are all pretty good pieces of evidence coming from a governing body official. Um, okay, now you'd want to support that, right? But that's what he's going to say. So you want to have some articles and things like that to support it. But that's not bad things. Now, when you're doing this in your strategy session, you're not going to know what that governing body official is going to say. But what we like to do is talk about it and learn about whatever our client's expertise is in, and then imagine what would a governing body official say, and then draft that up. Have our client then review it for accuracy, and then that client often knows who the governing body official is. We'll send it to them, right? We can do that. Then you have experts as well. Bob Jones, and maybe Bob Jones is ranked #1 in monster trucks competition in 2000, right? And he could then write a similar thing. Now, you wouldn't want the language to be the same in these opinions because they're going to say that looks generated, right? So you want to change it up. So, let's just say that pro athlete is one of the world's best monster truck pilots. He holds a world record for highest jump. He won a world championship. In 2023 with Australia, and he debuted, and in his debut with Monster Jam, the highest pro level of the sport, in the world he won the Australian Open against a field of 20 of the world's best, world's highest ranked pilots. Okay. So this is stuff you would learn from your clients, and this is how you would, present that information for an expert. You would then have ranking. So I put a note: pro athletes ranked in monster trucks, please obtain proof. Let's say that we've done it, and he's ranked 12th in monster truck rankings, and we would get that, and we put the link in, right? And then honors, he won the Australia Jam in 2023 and was, it says here, named Monster Truck Pilot of the Year. Okay. You would have some evidence there, but let's leave that out. Peer group could also be the advisory level. There is, if you don't know what the advisory group is, you can click here and it takes you to USCIS. What are all the advisory groups? I'm not going to go all the way through this because I know that monster trucks aren't on there. So you're going to basically have to find a peer. So if there's not a group, you can do a peer, and you could put the let's call it the director. Let's call it Bob Jameson, and he's the president, and he used to be in the United States organization, right? So let's just call it Bob's Monsters Inc. And that his contact information and that kind of stuff. All right, so we got all that. Now, once we've done this, we can send out, we're like, okay, we got a good case here. And so there's a couple different ways. One's the initial strategy session. One is, okay, I know I got the case here. I'm going to send out a contract, and then I'll show you how to do that. So let's go that Monster Jam is going to write the contract. That's Cookie Monster. We put add contract here. We go. It's going to be an enterprise contract because it's being the name of the company. And we're, we get to pick our filing fees. Now, these are mythical fees. So let's just say there's our filing fee, or our attorney's fees, our filing fees. There's some shipping and handling. We don't need those. We don't need those. And we'll teach you which ones you'd need. But it effectively, and then these are, not all of these are right, but let's just say this is the filing fee, and this is the attorney's fee, and we got shipping and handling. So let's say we said it was going to be 10,000, but they're like, I don't know, we can negotiate that down to 7,000. Okay, so then we have contract that is for 79.10, and we go here and you can see what the contract looks like. It's to Monster Jam and Cookie Monster, and they would have the attorney's logo up there if they needed, and it just kind of tells how they're going to work. And then you can see here 7,000 for attorney's fees. Here's the filing fees. Here's the shipping and handling. These aren't accurate, guys. They've added asylum fees and stuff, but this is just for doing this. And then you can edit it if you want, but if you like it, looks good, then we've built it. Then you go down, I want a repayment. I want the full 79.10. Now you can say I'm going to do it in phases and make it less or whatever. And I like to say that it's for a contract. And then you send it, and it's going to go to Cookie at Monster Truck comp.co. and there's a link. And if you want to send it to somebody else, you can copy that link and email it somewhere else. But they have that now, right? And you can follow up and say, "Hey, did you get the contract?" And they can pay it. They can pay by credit card. They can pay by ACH. They can even be linked to a financing company that can pay those things. So once that comes back, then see, you can see these things are dark, right? The complete questions and build cases are dark. But okay, we say we get the contract back and they've signed it, and we want to go back here to pro athlete. Oops, sorry. We want to go to petitions, right? So a lead is anything pre-signing of the contract. So once there's that, we want to graduate this up to a petition, and I'll show you what that does. I want to do new petition, and I want to select from my leads, and I know the guy's name is Pro Athlete. Okay, we got Pro Athlete, and submitting because it's Monster Jam. That's the right case. Now, Pro Athlete's at the top of this, and you can see complete questions and build case are there. So complete questions are how you answer all the questions for the visa. And you see it starts to pre-populate this, right? But if you also go here to upload documents, you can upload these documents. Now, if you use our bulk upload feature, that's this, and you start moving things into this, right? And you can do all these things at once and drop them in. Our AI tool is going to go through certain types of things like previous I-129s or passports and things like that. And you're going to be able, as an attorney, go in and see what that is and save that. And then that's going to pre-fill more of these questions. And then they can just go back in and fill the rest. So you have beneficiary questions, you got petitioner questions. Sorry, it takes a little while. You got petitioner questions. You see it's got some things there. You got to make sure you fill everything in. And then you can even add the other questions. So once you get past the G28, you got your I-129 questions. Then you can go all the way through that with your O supplement and things like that, right? Okay. If you want to add additional forms, you can. If you want to add a G28 for a dependent, those are all things you can do. All right, so that's that piece. That's how you upload documents and how you complete questions. Then you go to build case, and this is kind of where the magic happens. So if we want to do a form, we can do the I-129. Now, we hadn't had a lot of the questions answered, but some. And you can see here that we know that Monster Jam is the organization, but we didn't put it in the care of. But we can add that here. So we can add Cookie Monster. We can add the company's federal ID number, right? We can fill all these things up. And what's really cool, and we decided we wanted to see what the form looked like right here and fill these things in, right? So anyway, you just go through that, and then you can then build it, and it'll build the form. It takes a little while to build the forms. Taking all of this data and moving it over through the database. Once the forms are built, then you can review the forms and you can actually send it to your client over this system. Blocked my pop-up. My pop-up get blocked. Okay, there's the form. You can see Monster Jam. You see I put Cookie Monster in. All that there, right? Okay, I'll show you what that happens with that. So we got the form. I'm going to come back to this later.
Oops. I think John quit the meeting by error. We'll wait for him to join back.
Okay.
And in the meantime, I wanted to ask you, Ashley, have you ever done any Ps? I know you do similar visa types, but
I have
like
not. I'm just kind of learning about P's now. P's and O's are new to me.
So
Yeah,
sorry guys, I lost you. Let me go back. Are we okay?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. So
I was telling Ashley about how P visas are like the underdog. We don't hear a lot about them, especially when you're doing
Very specific.
research. But they make a great visa type for a lot of individuals.
Yeah, it's just really specific to athletes, right, and entertainers. So, that's such a finite group. Um, so if you do them all the time, like we do. But some people never do them. Never have the opportunity to represent a professional athlete. Okay, so I'm going back here. I'm building the case. I showed you that I built out the forms. You can see right here, one. That means I've got a version of that. I can do my G28, my I-907. So let's just go ahead and do the G28 real quick. I'm just going to build that. I'm not going to go through it just because I'm going to show you what all this does. We're good. So our brief is going to be built out like this. Now, again, we're working off the rugby brief, so we can change this up. But there's some things missing here. So benefits your job title, monster truck pilot. We're going to do this as an agent-based petition that allows an agent to sit in a petition role and have numerous different direct employers underneath it. You don't want your gender, then that's going to make all your Misters and Misses in there. If that's what you want to do, obviously you can move all that. You know that this is an Australian. Dates of employment. I'm just going to just leave that blank. Ford Motor Company is one of the sponsors. We got all these different things that we pulled all from these strategy sessions, right? So we can then build the brief in a matter of minutes. You can see my screen. You can edit this. I like to do it as a one page and make sure it's big enough. I'm going to make this a little bigger because I know I have such a big screen that it makes it look smaller for you guys. Let's make it 150%. Okay, hope that looks a little bit better. Okay, so you can see the things that dropped in. It put in today's date. It's got Monster Jam, a DBA of Liberty Law Firm. That's not correct. So I'm going to edit that. This Monster Jam. And actually, since this is an agent one, we're going to have it as well. We're not going to make it an agent one. We're just going to have it P1 athlete for pro athlete of that. And so he's not a professional rugby player. He's a monster truck pilot. So you can see this is a Word document. And I can edit this whole thing up. And I can go from there, okay? So that's how we do this. And I would save it and re-upload it. So if I save this, save as to my, I'd probably save it in a drive. But for the sake of this, I'm just going to save it on my computer. And I'll show you why. Let's just put this in my local. I'm going to put it on my desktop. Okay. So this is P1 for pro athlete as monster truck pilot. Okay. All right. So I'm going to save this now, and I'll show you why I'm doing that. Okay. So we got that. Now let me. So I've saved that onto my own drive, but it's also going to stay in these other places, and I'll say why it's important. So say I get done with that, and I want to go back. Okay, so right now I've got this form, I've got a brief, I've got this form. Let's see what else. Let's upload a schedule, and we need to probably edit it, but Monster Jam, Cincinnati. If I spelled Cincinnati right, I know I didn't. Okay, Cincinnati. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to build my schedule out. I'm going to look at that. Go back. So you can see I have a schedule down here, all sorts of things, right? All right, I can do an itinerary. We've got all sorts of documents. We can add any more documents. We can revise briefs. You can have your own personal briefs. So after I do that, I'm going to go to submission. I'm going to go to symbol. Okay, so you can see right here that I can upload things that have been built and been and other things. So the uploaded documents, there's none of those because the client hadn't done it yet, right? But I can select my built documents, and you see I can select my I-129, my G28, my brief, and my annual schedule. All right. Now I'm not going to do this brief, for example, because I edited it, right? So I'm going to leave that out, and I'll show you why. Okay. If I didn't edit it at all, then I would upload the brief from here. All right. But now I'm going to upload a file, and I'm going to click here. And I'm going to go to desktop, and I'm going to take this one. Oh, doesn't like it's because it's in use. So, all right. I gotcha. Okay. So Word does this, but I'm going to go ahead and X out of this so that when I can upload what I'd already saved on my file, right, is this. Okay. So that's there, uploaded. And it drops in here. So this is my edited one that I saved on my files instead of the one that was built in the system the way it is. Now, we got covers. We can build these beautiful covers, but attachments are anything that goes in front of the brief, and exhibits are things that go behind the brief, right? So attachments are going to be the G28. Bam, there we go. The I-129, okay? Now, other attachments would be things like the passport, anything that goes in front of the brief, right? Okay, the brief is the brief, right? Now, some people call the document here a cover letter. The difference between a cover letter and a brief is a cover letter. We've seen most immigration attorneys do not spend a lot of time discussing why something meets a criteria. They just literally give a table of contents and they give the information for immigration to determine. We write a brief so that we can identify issues such as the agent relationship and then provide regulation analysis or policy analysis or case law or even AAO decisions on why our scenario meets that. That's what you do in litigation. That's what we do, right? And you can see down here, this thing is assembling it. So we didn't do a cover, which is okay. You don't have to have a cover. But we got our forms as our attachments. We got our brief, and we have no exhibits. But we do have an exhibit. It's our schedule. So we want to have a schedule, which is going to be discussed in the brief. And we're going to bring it down here. And then I'm going to be able to edit this and call it Exhibit 1 or Exhibit A or whatever I want, right? So call it Exhibit 1. Now we have, if you look down here, attachments, brief, and exhibits. That's our deal. Now, if I go to assemble, it'll pull it all together, right? So it's taking these things that I've already drafted and pulling it together into a file. So here's my previous versions. I want to take a look at it. Now I can save this on my own file if I want on my computer, but there's our G28. Go to the I-129. Here's our I-29, right? Here's our brief. And you see, I haven't edited this brief all together. So I have some things in here like we'd have that. And I can take that out. I can take it out here. I can take it out and re-upload it. But I've got this all stitched together in one big PDF. And here's what I can do with that. So once I've got my PDF and I'm all cool with it, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to the symbol and I'm going to go to submission station. Wait. Build a case. No, I did that. Sorry. Submission station, and I can upload it, right? So if I want to upload it, then I can go here and I can say I can send just the forms for them to upload and sign. right? Which I would call document production, and I would title it forms. But this one I have the full petition, and I could go and if I had saved that, I would have pulled that in. If I just want to send them the brief, I can just pull this over here, send them the brief securely. This isn't the full petition; it's document review. I want to take a look at it. I want to email it to them, and I can pull all people that are in there. So I'm going to send this to Cookie Monster, and I'm going to send it to um, the lawyer. And if I had put in the beneficiary's name, and he'd be there too. You can go add them. You can even have a reminder, um, on what to do. Um, have a due date and say, please return by end of week. Right? And then bam, out it goes. Oh, I have to put a due date. So I'm giving them a requirement. End of the week is today. Oh, okay. I'll make it next week. And we're submitting, right? So now that's there, and you can view it. They view it, they can upload it, or they can download it. Say this was a form, they can sign it, re-upload it, all those sort of things. If they just want to review it or even edit, they can do that too. And then they would just upload. Okay, then there's reminder notes. Please return by end of the week. Okay, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. Pierre, what do you think?
Very well. I think you've made the process look really easy.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't stress this enough. This isn't a do it yourself.
No.
This is a demo basically for attorneys and paralegals, but you still need a strategy. You still need a legal counsel to basically tell you where to go and how to go. John, how do you think Visas.ai makes it easier to collect evidence? Because I'm no stranger to having to collect evidence for
Yeah.
my own case, and it's very exhausting. So how does this software platform make it easier for me as just the petitioner on the
Yeah.
other side to upload my docs?
What's really cool about it is once I do that strategy session, so what the strategy session replaces is a lawyer sitting at a desk like me, scribbling monster handwriting notes on a lined legal pad, right? It puts it where there's these questions and these answers, and then that's accessible to the client like yourself. And you can go and say, oh, I see what the questions they asked and the answers. I'd forgotten what he said. We were on for an hour. I need to talk to my partner. I need to talk to my boss, and I can show them. And then they can add things in, add questions, or add it. So, for example, if you go, you're a pro athlete, and you said you won the Sydney Jam. Can you give me some evidence on that? So you can either go in there and show the link and put it right there in the strategy session, or you can go find the article and upload it through the upload document securely. And then we can come back with the form securely. So security is a really important thing to a lot of people. I'm not emailing it. It's not going to get jacked. I mean, you got all your sensitive information on there, your social security number, your address, all those different things you wouldn't want. Security can be really key, and we can do it that way. So it's a really great collaboration tool. And what we're doing right here on this collab is how we collaborate with our clients, right? So if you're a client and Ashley's a client, we're saying, here's what you need to do. We're showing you those same screens. So in you go. So for an attorney, it's a great tool to collaborate with clients, to learn what they know, to have them give you things without just emails. Now you can still email, obviously we do. But you can produce those things. You can produce right in front of them. You can upload them right back. They can sign and go. And it's transformed our business, right? Now we invented this, but we're also, our law firm's sort of the incubator, right? We're client zero, we're the lab rats, and we're able to do more visas of a particular type, the H-1B, in 1 month in our first year using this than all of the visas we did for an entire year. And then we kept getting more and more of that data. So we did 89 H-1Bs in 1 day using this platform, with a back office in India, with lawyers in America. We had 5 levels of quality assurance, right? Quality control, where we had people asking for information, uploading the documents. We had clients coming in, and we were looking at all that in our submission station. And we're able on this day to be looking at these on our submission station by people from all different areas of the world, putting information in there, printing it here, and then sending it from here, right? You can't send it from another country. So we were able to reduce some cost, add some quality, pass those cost savings on to our client, and really expedite and speed up the process. And not having errors on it. It was fantastic. So speed is only part of it, but quality is the other part. And what distinguishes this thing from others is the strategy, right? I mean, we're not just putting table of contents in. We're writing legal briefs that we can write as quick as a cover letter, and that we can update with law as law changes, right? So we share our strategies with our other law firms that use this, and they can add their own strategies in, and they can share if they want, or they can just use ours. It doesn't matter to us. But for our clients, we're using this in front of them, and it allows us to have various attorneys go outside their expertise with the strategy sessions and be able to do a strategy session for a visa they haven't done before, and know that we have that knowledge in the firm, capture as much as they can, bring in another attorney if they need to, or be advised by OV, who's providing winning strategies and knowledge and regulations at their fingertips, being able to shoot over to other websites to find what is the organization that writes the consultation meeting. H-1Bs, finding what is the prevailing wage, what is the OOH on the requirements for that. So that's why it's an intelligent platform, and it helps get visas approved.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. For everyone watching us on YouTube, if you have any questions, please shoot them over our way. And if we don't get to answer them this time, we'll answer them next week at the same time. You could also, I do want to share with everyone watching how they could reach Attorney Velie for a strategy session directly with him to discuss your case. And going back to you, Attorney Velie and Attorney Morin, so just can you brief us really quickly about what a strategy session does for someone like a P, or maybe someone that doesn't qualify for a P but qualifies for an O or another visa type? So in a strategy session, what makes it different than a consultation?
Ashley, go ahead.
Yeah, so strategy session is different than a consultation because when you come, as John was showing you with the Visas AI, we're kind of taking you through what the whole strategy for your case is going to be. It's not just a consultation about it, like a general immigration question. It's kind of setting the path for the whole way that we're going to move forward through your case. And like you said, sometimes someone comes in and they think maybe they want to go for a certain kind of visa, but as we're going through the strategy session, we see that there's going to be an issue with that visa, and then we're able to redirect them to something that might work better, and do the strategy session from there, laying out all the next steps and ultimately to filing and getting their case approved.
That's exactly right. We invest in our clients first. We're going through their actual facts and telling them whether they meet the qualifications for a visa, how much it's going to cost, and how long it's going to take them. And if we find that, then we can use this tool to send that contract out immediately. We can get to work on the same day that we do that. And we've developed this over time, right? So we didn't always do it that way. And I don't know another way that does it, because we've used a lot of the other platforms over the years, and they're just forms packages. Now we have the ability to have a strategy session, send out the cost, the actual contract to the client, and sign them up on the same day and start working on that same day. And I think that's important for people. People are changing the way they retain lawyers. They're not going to their offices in their towns. They're looking for the best anywhere, and they're looking for the best price. So if you can get the best person at the best price that is engaged in helping you get there and has a good success record, then that's who you're going to go with. And that's what we're modeling this process about. And we're all about teaching and learning and mentoring our clients and other lawyers on how they can do better.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Attorney Moore, and thank you so much, Attorney Velie.
Sure.
It's always a pleasure speaking to you, and let's continue the conversation next week.
Thanks, Peter. Have a great weekend.
Likewise. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.